Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Bayang mag-iliw, perlas ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa liblib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng mag-ibig, sa manlulupi, di ka pasisihin, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit o baba. May lagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal, ang isak ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagdidinig, ang bituin na araw na kailan pa may magdidinig. Lupa ng araw ng balat, ipasita, buhay na higit sa piling mo. Ang hinigaya na pagbay mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Lord, let me be what you want me to be. Let me see all the gifts that you so lovingly blessed me with. Be with me when I'm alone and when it seems that nothing just works out for me. When I'm down, when I'm lost, give me strength, give me hope.
Makagagahom daw mahigugmaon, ugis ha magbabaya, iyan napunan ho anan. Iman ha anlaw, ag umawon day imo ho kinasing-kasing, taigpauma day imo sa pagpasalamat day hulangon ha panginahanglanon. Igpauma day daan imo sa agpanayuon day, sa maayad ha kaginhawa, maayad ha kaglawa, maayad ha kagtima. Yan day daan agpanayuon ha ipadiyo kay hu mga madaot, kahanlok daw kaguod, ikahid o kaikaw. Dagidagi sa pagtuo, daw pagsalig day hu mga kamatuuran no, hasikaw gayud permanente taghari, taliwada o pagtalig-uma da pagkuyanap, o sunod-sunod daw nagkalain-lain hamatang o panghitabo, kagubot, kalisdanan, daw kadaot. Ipaaha, ipagudam, daw ipaambit ho mga utawno doon ho banwa, nasod, daw tibuok kalibutan, sa gagaw, kahid-o, kalinaw, daw kalig-uno. Taiyan man, timaan mga kahanggin, na pasensya.
Lord, I offer my life to you. You can do what you want to do. Just come and fill my life, fill my darkness with your light.
وقال ربكم ادعوني أستجب لكم آمين يا رب العالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. God our Father, we come to you in our need to ask your protection against the COVID-19 that has disturbed and even claimed lives. Give us the grace in this trying time to work for the good of all and to help those in need. We implore you to stop the spread of this virus and to save us from all our fears. We pray that you guide the people, especially those tasked to find a cure for this disease, and for us who are entrusted to take care of our children in the schools and the classrooms. Though they cannot be allowed to go to the schools, we ask your protection and guidance, that we will still be able to deliver the learning that they need to have amidst this pandemic, believing that no one should be left behind in this our spiritual journey, for the good of our children and for the good of the country and for all the people in the world. This we ask through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Lord, I know now what I want to do. I have found my strength when I came to you. You have sent me to help with my brothers and make them happy as you made me too. Lord, I know now what I want to do. I have found my strength when I came to you. You have sent me to help with my brothers and fill the darkness with your light. You have sent me to help with my brothers and fill the darkness with your light.
Hello, good morning to everyone. Maayong buntag sa tanan and welcome back to KaaGABAY Learning Series on Materials Development. My name is Isabel Alano and I will be your host for this morning. Kamusta naman po tayong lahat? I hope that everyone is doing well despite this gloomy weather that we have, and sana excited pa rin po tayo for this session. Before anything else, I would like to give my deepest respects to our school's division superintendent, Dr. Cherry May Limbaco Reyes, our OIC, Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Loribina Carrasco, SGOD Chief, Dr. Rosalio Vitorillo, Public Schools District Supervisors, Education Program Supervisors, to our school heads, teachers, to the entire DepEd CTO Division, and to everyone who is watching with us right now. Hello and good morning to all of you. So KaaGABAY is a series of learning sessions every Friday that started last March 11 until today, April 8, 2022. We are now on our last session. In every session, we have talked about different topics regarding materials development, and we hope that you have learned a lot in the sessions that we had and for our last session today. So pausing here a little so that I could request everyone to like, comment on, and share this live stream to your fellow teachers. And you can also input your questions that you may have for our speaker in the comment section below. Before we dive into our new topic, let us quickly look back to our previous session last Friday with our speaker, Sir Ryan Roa. In his session, we have learned about the different processes, strategies, and tools we could use in creating video lessons during pre-production, production, and post production. The use of video lessons have grown, especially when the pandemic hit, and as these video lessons can be shared in social media through Facebook and YouTube, these has become very accessible to our learners. Creating video lessons may seem hard at first, especially when diving in its technical side, but at the first but the first step in everything that we do is to always just start. And as said during the session, being able to see the final outcome at the end, we feel satisfaction and accomplishment over it. We don't necessarily have to become experts, but rather our goal is to be able to create materials that are suitable, accessible, and relevant for our learners. And through sessions like this, we review past knowledge, gain new learnings, and explore other skills that we may have. He also reminded us to bring out the Marites in us, which means maximizing revolutionized ideas in teaching engaging stories. As we know, sometimes in being a Marites, you don't feel the time pass by when talking with our friends or with other people. And that is what we have to instill in our learners in the context of learning, to be able to incorporate their experiences and other real life situations so their learning becomes personal and relatable. And when that happens, they could enjoy it and relate it to themselves, building more retention. If you missed that session last Friday, you could always look back and watch it again here in this Facebook page or check it out in our LR portal. Okay, I think at this point we are ready to proceed to our next session. For our fifth learning session, our topic will be on the use of interactive audio instruction in teaching. We have seen how useful our radio and audio lessons are to our learners, especially these past years in the distance learning modality. And today, we will further explore how much more we can utilize this learning material with our speaker. And I am very excited and honored to introduce him to all of you. So, our speaker is a kindergarten teacher at San Diego Elementary School in Quezon City and a teacher broadcaster at DepEd TV. He serves as a writer at DepEd, a host of Alpabasa Online, and a professional storyteller at Adarna House. He has completed academic requirements in his doctoral degree on educational management and has also earned units in development education major in early childhood education. In 2017, he was named as the Tatanging Guru Awardee in NCR and the new ambassador of the Teachers Gallery. He has already considered teaching as a lifelong commitment of continuous learning and development and as a means to further develop our basic education system. Everyone, help me welcome Mr. Jerry L. Rivas. Let's give him a resounding round of applause as I show him and welcome him on the screen. Hello, good morning, Sir Jerry.
Good morning, Teacher Isabel. Thank you
Hello
for that
po.
introduction.
And sir, the virtual floor is yours, sir.
All right, thank you. So, once again, good morning. Welcome to our session. I think this is your last session, the fifth session on the use of instruction, the use of audio instruction in teaching. My name is Teacher Jerry, and I will be your speaker for today. Allow me to greet those who are joining this virtual session. Kumusta naman po kayo? So, sige, pwede niyo pong i-type ang inyong mga school, no? Pati yung ayan, kung saan kayo kabilang, anong grade level, high school ba ito, elementary. Ayan, so I hope you stay with us until the end of the program. But before I begin, I would like to thank Teacher Isabel Alano, our host for today, for this opportunity to share this topic. No, I'd like also to thank your Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Chereme L. Limbaco Reyes, um, for this opportunity. So what I'm going to share this morning are the things that I also learned during our training with the College of Development Education or CDC of the UP Los Baños. So that training was actually a partnership with CDC, UPLB, and DepEd. So siguro ang ilan sa inyo ay naka-attend na ito. And this was conducted last 2020. No, so naghanap bawat region ng two representatives to attend yung RBI, yung radio-based instruction. So baka may naka-attend na sa inyo at this could be a refresher course, no? Yan. But before we begin, let's have a game first, no? So since this is about radio broadcasting, at sigurado ako na marami sa atin ay nakikinig ng radio, no? Para sa mga paboritong awitin, ang ating game ay guessing the missing lyrics, no? You may type your answer sa ating comment section. Yan, pwede nyo i-type yung answer nyo sa ating comment section. Sige, simulan na natin. Para sa ating first song, tingnan natin kung ano yung nawawalang lyrics. Pwede kayo sumabay. I don't know why, but when I look in your eyes, I saw something that seems so right. Alam na ba? Pwede nyo i-type yung inyong mga sagot. I've got, ayan, merong 5 seconds lang. Ano kaya ang ating missing na salita? Missing word? Ayan, mine. Now let's proceed to the next song.
'Cause I'm dreaming of you tonight.
Type your answer sa ating comment section. Ayan, tama si
I'll be
Ma'am
holding
Bayani.
you tight.
Kultura, sabi niya
And
mine.
in the world I'd rather be.
Ayan, ano kaya ang sagot? I-type ang ating sagot. Sabi ni Christine Eduave, no one. Ayan, ang tamang sagot ay nowhere. Next, third song.
I wanna be a billionaire so fucking bad. Buy all of the things I never had. I
Alam
wanna
niyo na,
be on the
i-type na yung sagot.
cover of Forbes magazine, smiling next to Oprah
And
and
ang sabi ni Bayani, ang bilis sa Queen. Tingnan natin if that's the right answer.
smiling
Ayan,
next to
tama. Ang
Oprah
sagot ay
and the
Queen.
Queen.
Next song.
We have more than one adventure to
Sabi ni
take.
Ma'am Isabel Cabodi,
One
Queen.
thing to
Tama po.
make it a lifetime. As for me, there's only one.
Blank. Ano kaya ang sagot?
As for me,
Ang tamang sagot ay
there's only
Dream.
one dream.
Next.
Sa'yo mayroong pangarap, pagmamahal ko sa'yo'y
Itong song na
tapat.
to. Ano kaya ang
Sa'yo
ano wawalang salita?
na higit pa sa sapat.
Ang tamang sagot ay
Sa'yo pagmamahal na higit pa sa
next song. I think this is the last song. Ikaw lang ay, ang tamang sagot ay makapiling.
I know I never love this way again, so I keep holding on before
The blank
the
is
is
gone.
gone.
Ang tamang salita ay good. Ayan, tama si Ma'am Bayani Roturas. Good. Sabi rin ni Christine, good. Very good. Ayan. Next. Ayan, yun yung last natin. Thank you for joining and singing with me. Yan, so these are the objectives. So at the end of this webinar, you are expected to describe what is SOA or School on the Air. So since ito ay audio instruction and teaching, somehow ang isa sa mga bagay, it could be the radio-based instruction or School on the Air. So first, describe what is SOA or School in the Air. Second, you have to discuss the characteristics of SOA. And the last is to explain the SOA mechanics. All right, so these are our objectives. And before we define what is SOA or School on the Air, let me brief you about the history in using radio for education. No, broadcasters then and perhaps now in the Philippines. So yung radio daw has three main functions. So what are these functions? First, according the first main function is the to entertain. No, according to Professor Alexander G. Flor, he is the author of Broadcast-Based Distance Learning Systems. The entertainment function though is achieved through music programs. It could also be soap operas and variety shows. And it is the most widely performed function because of its revenue potential. 'Di ba? Kaya maraming radio sa bahay. Kaya may mga radio tayo sa bahay because we want to be entertained. Gusto natin makinig ng mga music. At sometimes, 'di ba, may naririnig natin mga operas. Alright? So, next is the information functions. It is exemplified by news programs and documentary features. And it is also regularly performed by the broadcast industry. And 'di ba? So, may narinig tayo ng mga news programs and documentaries. And the last function of radio is to educate. So while the education function is pathetically the least explored and the least utilized, kasi 'di ba siguro madalang na actually ngayon ko lang din na narinig yung mga ganito na meron na tayong mga RBI, no, yung radio based instruction, kasi before parang wala. Pero mamaya malalaman natin sa history kung meron nga ba. 'Di ba? So wala pang mga ganitong klase yung education na merong mga audio lessons sa mga radios. Okay? So it is said that the highest social goal of broadcasting is to educate. No, kaya tayo naghahanda rin ng mga ganitong bagay. But should we not consider ba? Parang kasi yung information pareho siya sa pag-educate din. So should we not consider yung informational programs like the news and public affairs programs educational, since a listener or a viewer gains knowledge from these? So according again to Professor Alex, the most valid answer to this question is that it is a matter of intent. So kung if it is specified in the program's objectives, assuming of course that all programs have set of objectives that the listener or the viewer should have a gain of knowledge, and learning principles and strategies are applied in the program to contribute to this objective, then without any doubt, it is an educational program. 'Di ba? So tayo din, 'di ba, like sa mga classroom, meron tayong mga objectives na kailangan ma-meet natin at the end of the class, 'di ba? So ganun din dito. So otherwise, these broadcasts do not go beyond the mere non-purposive chronicling or dissemination of facts and information. So, 'di ba, kapag educational tayo, somehow meron tayong tinatap din na different domains. So, it should fulfill yung certain changes in the cognitive, yung knowledge gain, sa psychomotor din, yung behavioral change, and also the affective, yung attitude change domains within the listener or the viewer natin. So most of these changes are manifested in the attainment of specific behavioral or objectives. Others, of course, are more difficult to observe and thus to measure. So, yan. The term university on the air was coined by a Filipino, Pacific Sadario, introduced yung agricultural practices via radio. So kanina nasabi ko, no, na parang hindi pa masyado talagang nakikilala yung ganito. Pero noon pa lang pala may tinatawag ng university on the air, no? So ang itong mga agricultural practices via radio ay naituturo to the farmers in the Western Visayas region. So ngayon, how do we educate in times of crisis, since na meron pa rin naman talaga tayong pandemya? So one of the ways could be through the SOA, no, yung School on the Air. So Teacher Jerry, what is a lesson or what is school School on the Air? So again, according to Professor Emeritus Felix Librero, SOA is a specially designed radio program where subject matter is presented systematically and in progressive manner, with the ultimate goal of achieving desired results under a teaching learning situation. Techniques are employed. The techniques employed are instructional, although broadcasts are not under classroom conditions. Students listen in their homes by themselves or in groups or with their parents. So pedagogically, magtuturo tayo dito using yung radio in the teaching learning process. So paano natin to gagawin, no? Syempre, just like what we do in a conventional classroom, no? Paano ba tayo nagtuturo sa klase? It must be structured. For example, hindi natin pwedeng i-explain yung photosynthesis without introducing the parts of the plants. Hindi natin pwedeng pag-usapan yung addition, for example, sa kinder without teaching them one-to-one correspondence. No? So ito din yung kinukonsider natin kapag nagturo tayo, gamit naman yung radyo, no? At mamaya magpapakita ako kung nare-restrict ba lang Teacher Jerry sa radyo. So mamaya magpapakita pa ako ng ibang halimbawa na kung walang radyo, paano kaya pwedeng gamitin ng bata. So let's talk about the characteristics of SOA or School on the Air. The first characteristic is it has to have a set of clearly defined objectives. So ano ba yung gusto nating ma-achieve? What do we want our students to be able to perform after listening from the SOA? O pagkatapos nila, ano ba yung gusto nating makuha nila? So, and I know that we are all aware that objectives have to be SMART format, no? Ano nga ba yung SMART? Meron ba? Pwede nyo i-type kung ano ibig sabihin ng SMART. Yung SMART, no? Kapag SMART means it should be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. Minahal din natin yung si Benjamin Bloom, no, in terms of crafting our objectives from lower order thinking skills to higher order thinking skills. So examples. For example, we have the first column, understand the principles of photosynthesis. And then the other one is describe photosynthesis. Between the two, alin kaya dyan yung better formulation of an objective? Pwede nyo bang i-type sa ating comment section? Alin kaya dito sa dalawang objectives na ito ang better formulation? Is it the first one or the second one? Sige nga, paki-type sa ating comment section. Meron na ba? Sabi ni Bayani Roturas, describe photosynthesis. So, yan, thank you Ma'am Bayani Roturas. So, the second is a good format of your behavioral objective because the learning competency is for the student to describe what is photosynthesis. So, A is a bad formulation, no? Understand the principles of photosynthesis. Ano ba yung gusto nating i-measure? How do you measure understanding? It is not very clear. Ano yung gusto mong maintindihan nila? 'Di ba? Hindi siya malinaw. So yung second one, describe photosynthesis, is a better formulation of an objectives. All right. So the second characteristic is that your SOA must be well planned, no? Kapag sinabi nating well planned, kailangan handa. Everything must be prepared, no? Kailangan kumpleto bago mag-start yung school year natin. So ngayon I think magandang preparation din to, no? Magtatapos na ang school year at naghahanda na tayo ng panibagong school year. Maganda rin to na natututuhan natin itong mga bagay na pwede natin din palang gawin pwede tayong mag-provide din ng audio lesson. So sa paghahanda natin, no? Syempre dapat bago mag-start yung school year, bagong school term. So we need to make materials ready before the school year or school term or semester starts. Depende. Okay? So the third characteristic is that it has to be composed of a single defined subject matter. Ideally, you must prepare all audio materials, no, yung mga gagamitin natin sa pagre-record before the SOA starts. In your case, for example, you may need to produce, for example, 2 lessons, no? And to produce 2 lessons, 2 weeks in advance dapat because you need time. Kailangan natin ng time to write your scripts to record a lessons. Kaya naman mamaya, after giving you these things, pag-uusapan din natin, paano ba natin ihahanda naman yung script natin. Okay? Also, on a single definite subject matter, hindi natin pwedeng pag-usapan ang maraming topics in one radio lesson, no? Or in one audio lesson, for example. The key there is to find out what the students need, what student needs to know, and we can refer to the most essential learning competencies as provided in our MELCs. So we are so familiar with the MELC, no? The most essential learning competencies. Also, you need to consider ano ba dapat yung una nating ituturo. Hindi tayo pwedeng magturo ng lesson kahit anong lesson lang na kung saan tayo, ay kasi handa ako dito prepared na ako dito sa lesson na to, kaya ito yung uunahin kong i-deliver na audio lesson, no? It should be very systematic. So for example, ito ay papasok na ang panibagong quarter. For example, naghahanda na kasi tayo, no, for the new school year. So first quarter. So dapat 'di ba, first quarter, week 1, lesson 1, 'di ba? So hindi tayo pwedeng mag-start sa let's say week 2 na, kasi pina-follow din naman natin yung spiral progression. Ano dapat yun? What should be the prerequisite of this lesson? Dapat may nauuna pa dito. Parang ganun. Alright. The fourth characteristic of SOA is the subject matter is presented in a progressive manner. So topics should be systematic in successive order. So as I mentioned earlier, topics should be structured, systematic, and presented based on the degree of complexity. Hindi pwedeng ang unang mong ile-lesson ay mahihirap, di ba? So sabi ko nga kanina, tayo sa DepEd, we follow yung spiral progression. Ano ba yung mga prerequisite skills muna na dapat na ituturo natin bago natin ituro yung mas mahihirap? Okay? The fifth characteristic naman, it is a bit tricky or cumbersome, no? A cooperative project of the radio station and the cooperating agency. This characteristic is something that DepEd should have to explore, no? Ito din ang SDO Cagayan de Oro. So dapat ito din yung something that we explore unless we have our own radio network. So think how you will use your radio lesson or audio lesson. What will be the frequency of airing, especially kung ang itatap natin ngayon yung mga yung may mga radio station, or unless magpo-produce tayo ng mga audio lessons na pwedeng i-play ng bata sa bahay. So we consider the frequency of airing, how many hours per day, no, what subjects may be taught per day, just like what we have for DepEd TV. Meron tayong program grid, no? So pwede rin tayong mag-issue ng manual before the lessons are aired to guide students on what to study, no? So kung tayo ay may handa na yung kanilang mga for example, yung mga modules, pwede na natin i-refer doon. At na-QA na itong mga modules na ito, pwede na tayong i-translate yung mga modules na ito into audio lesson. No? Gagawa na tayo o bubuo na tayo ng scripts. So these are the characteristics of school on the air. Now, in planning your SOA, there are 3 basic phases to undergo, no? So meron tayong tinatawag na pre-broadcast activities. Yung fourth session, meron ding ang tawag nito, may production, post-production. So dito din sa radio based, meron din tayong tinatawag na pre-broadcast activities, broadcast proper activities, and post-broadcast activities. So what are these? For the pre-broadcast activities, this is where you prepare your self-learning modules that could be start in preparing your radio scripts or audio scripts. This is also the time for webinars and trainings. We could probably have the same trainings like this in preparation of your radio broadcast instructions, like transforming your self-learning modules into scripts for radio-based instruction or audio lesson, no? This is also the time for writing your radio scripts or audio scripts. You cannot write your scripts an hour before, a day before production. At dapat pinapractice natin to. So hindi pwedeng bukas tayo magre-record, ngayon mo palang sisimulan yung script mo. Okay? At kasi dapat may time din tayo to practice. Medyo hinahanapan natin din ang magandang anggulo kung paano natin sasabihin. Minsan may mga isinulat tayong salita na mahirap palang basahin, no? So pwede tayong umisip pa na ipapalit na salita. Kung marami tayong time to prepare, maaaral pa natin ito, no? Pwede pa nating practicein, makikita pa natin kung ano yung mga salita na pwede nating baguhin kasi mahirap siyang bigkasin. So we have to be prepared writing our scripts. And of course, after writing our scripts, it should go to the QA team for checking like the content, no, flow of your radio lesson, and so on. So dito may mga team tayo na pwedeng mag-check naman or mag-QA ng content ng scripts nyo. Kasi minsan, totoo naman na may mga kala natin tama na ito, pero may mga makikita pa dyan yung iba na pwedeng baguhin, no? Para maging maayos pa tong script natin. And after approval of your QA team, you have to record your lesson for your lectures if there are no revisions to be made. Okay, so ito na yung recording of your lectures na or your audio lessons. So these are the pre-broadcast activities. The second phase is the broadcast proper activities. So sa broadcast proper activities naman, you have your orientation broadcast. 'Di ba? Dito you tell your students what are the expectations, what needs to be done, how should they prepare, how they can submit their assignments. Ako yung mga pinapagawa ko sa DepEd TV, pinapalagay ko sa kanilang portfolio at chine-check ko rin, no? Next, you also need to do something to motivate your students. And this motivation should be very creative na pang audio lesson or pang radio lesson. Kaya dapat mag-isip si teacher broadcaster kung paano niya imo-motivate si students. No? So these motivators that would somehow make students stay tuned in your program na makikinig sila. Kasi mahirap naman talaga yung walang nakikita ang bata. No? So, sobrang challenging yung mga audio lessons. Kasi minsan talaga nakikinig lang ang bata. Kapag medyo hindi pa talaga sanay si teacher na mag-project ng boses, medyo sa part ng bata, ang hirap mong makinig ng matagal, no? Hindi natin nakukuha yung interest ng bata. Yan. So dapat meron din tayong mga tinatawag na pakulo, no? So ito yung mga tinatawag nating motivation. Next, in broadcast test, this is also where you normally incorporate quizzes in every lesson. No? So kahit audio lesson yan, pwede tayong mag-incorporate ng quizzes. So sa quizzes na yon, these quizzes are expected to be received by the teacher itself. So tayo, for example, teacher, sino mag-check niyan? Kunyari, may mga teachers tayo, di ba? May mga advisors sila. Pwedeng i-collect nila yung mga sagot base sa radio o audio lesson quizzes na ginawa. Okay? So meron tayo ditong mechanism on how to do it. So this is also the time to monitor students' progress. So dapat meron tayong monitoring sheet. How do we get in touch with our students given the pandemic, diba? This will make sure that everything is either keeping pace with the lesson. Last, this is also the time for modification of broadcast methods. Minsan kasi hindi natin alam kung ano yung mga nangyayari sa ating mga listeners, no, sa kanilang bahay, kung paano sila nakikinig, posibleng baka mahina yung signal, no, kung 'di ba kung radio station naman to, medyo hindi talaga maganda yung lugar, yung lokasyon ng radyo niya. Hindi tayo masyadong naririnig kasi malayo sa microphone, for example, si teachers. So these are the things that can be head back, no? So ito yung pagmo-modify ngayon ng broadcast method. So ang gagawin natin, pwede bang pre-recorded? So ito yung pwede nating pag-usapan din o pag-usapan ng team nyo kung tayo ay bubuo na ng audio lesson for radio, no? Alright, so the last phase naman ay ang post-broadcast activities. This is where you conduct your post-broadcast examination. So normally, yung pre-test is the same sa ating post-test. So parang ito ay lahatan na sa ating yan para sa post-test. Of course, we are talking of a one-month program, for example, sa SOA. But in your case, for example, you might need to rethink how post-broadcast examination. Baka ito na yung, kasi, di ba, yung mga senior high school teachers, nagpe-prepare kayo per semester. So baka pwedeng yung broadcast examination nyo, ito yung magiging final exam, no, na ipapagawa. Depende pa ito sa sabihin ng ating head sa pagbuo natin ito. Ayan, so next, after the post-broadcast examination, and then you can conduct follow-up activities in the usual SOAs. So we want to find out how our students are applying what they learned. So sa atin, follow-up could be their participation in the next level. And also these activities can provide some kind of feedback in how to improve the program. Next, so we do an evaluation of the SOA program. Paano ngayon natin may evaluate yung ating SOA program or LOA program, yung lessons on the air or school on the air? So the evaluation really enforced the organizers on how to improve on future SOA. Diba? In our case, an evaluation of how we could perform better so that there will be more effective transfer of knowledge. Kasi siguro naman at first, hindi talaga natin masyadong mapupulido yung mga ganitong pagpapagahanda. Okay? Ang susunod ay feedback mechanisms. So sa feedback, we know how important it is, lalo na sa itong gagawin natin na mga audio lesson. So this comes in different forms. Pwedeng may mga letters, no? Feedback forms, kunyari may mga feedback forms tayo. Usually itong feedback forms we provide yung mga drop box na kung saan ihuhulog nila yung kanilang mga comments na they want to tell the radio or let's say yung mga narrators, radio announcer, yung mga teacher broadcasters, and also evaluation of how we could perform better like what I said earlier. Okay, so if this is possible, pwede rin magbigay ng mga material incentives like paper crayons para lang they continue to listen. Okay, and participate in the audio or in the radio program. Kasi ang totoo, hindi natin masisisi yung bata kung ayaw niyang ayaw niya kasi hindi naman hindi na nila nakikita yung nagtuturo, di ba? Wala siyang nakikita tapos minsan hindi natin masasabi na hindi talaga maayos yung pagsasalita. Okay? So pwede silang mag-send ng mga messages also, text messages na ma'am hindi po masyadong dinig, no? Usually itong mga issue na ito kapag naka-live on air yung teacher, no? Pero kung mga pre-recorded to, nakakapaghanda talaga tayo ng maayos. Okay? So yan yung natin, broadcast activities natin. Now, kanina napag-usapan na natin yung mga yung lesson o yung school on the air, no? Ano yung characteristics nito. Now let's move to the principles of radio script writing and the basic radio script format, no? So, ito pwede itong i-adapt tapos i-modify na lang base sa ano ba yung ikagaganda. So, itong i-discuss ko ngayon, this is actually from the discussion of Dr. Trina Lea teacher at T. Mendoza ng UPLBDEM. So ito din ay magiging refresher para sa ilan na nakapakinig na rin ng kanyang talk. Okay, so what is a script? Alam na natin kung ano ba ito. Ito ay kaluluwan ng isang dula o pagtatanghal, no? So kahit na naman veterano na, napakahusay na, kailangan pa rin ng script, no? Kasi ito yung magiging magiging guide ng magdedirect sa atin, tayo na teacher broadcaster at yung magdedirect. Okay? So first, when we develop yung script natin, iniisip muna natin ano yung treatment. How do we first approach, no? So ito yung magiging natin, flash ng story ng script natin. Ano ba yung approach na pwede kong gamitin, Teacher Jerry? First, we have the straight narration or the teacher approach. This is the most common. Ito yung pinakasimple. Paano ba tayo magturo sa klase? So kung paano tayo magturo sa klase, ganito rin natin gagawin natin pagdating sa pagbuo natin ng script sa audio lesson or yung sa radio-based instruction. Okay? So, hindi pwede yung masyadong formal. So, paano ka ba nakikipag-usap sa mga estudyante mo sa oras ng klase? Okay, mga bata. So, yung treatment, pwedeng itong straight narration din. Another treatment, we have the dramatic approach. Ito naman yung may mga sagutan na ng characters sa iba-ibang subjects, no? Kwento ito na mga may conflict, may climax, may resolution. So ito na yung mga pwede natin gamitin na hindi lang tayo puro turo-turo lang, no? Baka pwede tayong mag-integrate ng mga stories din, no? May mga storytelling, may mga o kaya merong mga conversation na pwede nating ilagay sa ating audio lesson. So ito maganda to kasi 'di ba pwede tayong magbago-bago ng boses at nakukuha natin yung yung interest ng bata, nakakatch natin attention nila. This approach is the U approach. Ito yung pinakabagay actually sa mga audio lesson, no? Sa mga radio. Bakit? Kasi parang kinakausap siya ng teacher, 'di ba? Parang 'di ba parang sa commercial, para tayong pag nakikinig tayo ng mga commercials kahit sa TV o sa radyo, para tayong kinakausap, no? Minsan bakit nakukuha yung attention natin ng mga vlogger o yung nanonood ng mga nagbo-vlog, bakit nakukuha attention natin? Kasi as if they are talking with us directly. Okay, so ito yung U approach. The fourth approach is the dialogue approach. Ito yung similar sa kaninang natin binanggit yung kanina, yung dramatic approach, pero sa dialogue approach, ang difference nila, you present the lesson through a conversation without resolution, unlike dun sa dramatic. Okay? Next, documentary approach. Sa documentary approach, pwede tayong mag-insert ng voice clips. May mga sound effects, no? Or pwede rin naman may mga interviews, no? Mga audio interviews na pwede nating i-insert na clips. But again, we have to be mindful, no? Yung mga copyrighted materials, copyrighted work, no? Kasi hindi tayo pwedeng kuha lang ng kuha agad. Okay, next. Abstract symbolic approach. This is good for the arts, no? Pero ito ay medyo mahirap na kasi ito ay lahat naman no visual support, no? So it includes yung mga sounds and abstract visuals. Ideas may not be stated explicitly and audience makes own interpretation. So ito medyo hindi to pwede sa mga lower levels like yung kindergarten kasi nga 'di ba? It should be concrete, no, kaya dapat maayos ang pagdi-describe natin. Ito ay medyo okay sa mga higher level, high school for example. Okay, another principles in writing for radio, ito yung the 6 C's. First, we should be clear, no? We need to choose simple words. We can avoid yung mga long word kasi nga 'di ba meron ng tayong target time, maiksi lang yung oras na ibinibigay dito. Kaya we need to avoid yung mga long word when a short word will do, no? May mga pwede naman tayong pamalit na mga salita na mas madaling intindihin, no? So, lagi nating iisipin na ito sa audio lesson, every second counts. Dito matetest yung ating vocabulary skills kasi kailangan ko mag-isip ng mga salita na madali nilang maintindihan at mauunawaan. Next, it should be concise. When we say concise, so every word must have a purpose for being there, no? We need to replace a series of words or phrase with one word that means the same. For example, pwede natin sabihin na instead of putting there in our script once a week, pwede natin gamitin yung pwede natin sabihin weekly, no? For example, give testimony. Pwede naman natin gamitin na lang yung word na testify kasi they mean the same. Okay? Next, conversation. So know your audience, no? It is very essential to be able to reach them effectively. We need to gather information about your audience so that we could adjust the style of the language and content of your writing to your intended audience. For example, for kindergarten kasi iba yung atake mo. Pero pag kinausap mo naman yung mga high schoolers, iba rin yung magiging atake mo. Hindi pwedeng magandang araw mga bata. Masaya ako na makakasama ko kayo ngayon. Hindi pwede mong gawin yon sa mga high schooler. Pero effective yun for kindergarten o yung mga nasa lower grades. Diba? So dito, talagang nilalaro natin. Kaya dito naman, madali naman natin makapag-gather ng information. For example, what specific grade level, diba, tayo naka-assign. Okay? Next, we need to ayan, yung completeness. Say what you mean, no? Dito, we need to use words carefully to provide specific meanings. Pwede tayong gumamit actually ng contractions, no? Para lang talaga mapaikli yung ating airtime. Yung mga, kasi pag maraming salita, talagang nagko-consume siya ng mas maraming segundo, no? Minuto. So, for English teachers, pwede nating gumamit ng construction, no? Para siya ay maging sounding more natural and familiar, di ba? And easier to read aloud, no? For example, yung mga will not, we can use won't, do not, don't. But we can avoid contraction. We avoid contractions when you want to emphasize an important point, no? Example, the senator does not support the Freedom of Information Bill. So instead of saying doesn't, para ma-emphasize siya, for emphasis, does not. Okay? Ayan, sa current, dito makikita natin naman na yung broadcasting is constrained by time. So, yung 10 seconds natin, dapat meron tayong ilang words na. Meron tayong 25 words. For 15 seconds, dapat meron tayong 35 words na. So, dapat talaga si teacher broadcaster ay mahusay magsalita. 20 seconds dapat may 45. 30 seconds, may 65 words. Ang 60 seconds naman, dapat meron tayong 130 words. Okay. Next, correct. Anong meron dito sa correct? We need to avoid vague and abstract words. Words must elicit tangible images. Kasi nga, hindi nila nakikita, di ba? So, dapat maayos yung pagkakadescribe natin dun sa mga konsepto na inaituturo natin. Okay? Very challenging to for teachers na nagtuturo sa, yan, yung sa primary. And we are writing for the ear, di ba? We can use adjectives, balance using adjectives para we cannot lose the airtime. Next, be readable. So this will be used by so many. So better na mas maganda yung scriptwriter ay si teacher broadcaster na rin, 'di ba? Be careful din sa paggamit ng yung pagbasa ng kopya. Dapat talaga pina-practice natin yung pagbasa ng script natin. Pwede natin kasing i-avoid dito yung let's say yung mga sibilant words with letters na S and Z and tongue twisters. Avoid alliterations, repetition of usually initial consonant sounds in two or more neighboring words or syllables. Ayan. So this will be used by so many, so dapat talagang maganda si teacher broadcaster ay si scriptwriter din. Okay? Sabi dito ay let's try also yung yung one idea per sentence. Kasi bakit? Magiging information overload to para sa mga batang nakikinig. Okay, so observe the one idea, one sentence rule. No, avoid overcrowding. Also, prefer the indirect quotation. This helps in creating a smoother, readable copy. For example, it is weak kapag sinabi natin, for example, the president said, tapos yung quote niya na agriculture needs to be improved throughout the country. So it will be better kung the president said that agriculture needs to be improved throughout the country. So para malinaw kung sino nagsabi nito. Kasi di natin nakikita yung quotation. Okay? Next, provide phonetic spelling for unfamiliar words or jargons, no? So, example, ang lamesa watershed ay isang reservoir o imbakan o mapagkukunan ng tubig. So, kapag nag-write tayo ng scripts natin, baka ang ilan ay hindi familiar sa mga salita, no? Halimbawa, yung reservoir, baka mabasa niya to ng ibang bigkas. Okay? Next ay use transition words, no? So, likewise, for example, administrators of the country's nursing schools support Santiago's call for investigation. So, alam naman natin yan, we use transition words para maganda yung flow, no? Smooth yung flow ng ating mga konsepto na itinuturo. Next, repeat the message if necessary, no? This will make it more memorable for the audience. Kasi minsan hindi na natin nalalaman nakuha ba nila. Hindi nila pwedeng balikan, hindi nila pwedeng ulitin, lalo na kung ito ay radio broadcast, di ba? Hindi siya nare-replay. Wala silang pwedeng pindutin sa radyo para maulit yung sinabi ni teacher kasi hindi nila nag-gets. So ang gagawin natin dito kapag meron silang kailangang maalala o alalahanin, pwede nating i-repeat. For example, if these are numbers, no? O mga bata, the number to dial is 536-2433. Again, call us at 536-2433. So pwede nating ulit-ulitin, no? Next, handle figures properly. Dito halimbawa, i-spell out yung, let's say, yung dollars, cents, pesos, percent, kilograms, and meters. I-spell out din natin yung fractions like 1/2, 5, and 5.5. We can also spell out numbers which are used at the beginning of sentences. Spell out numbers from 1 to 10 and use numerals from 411 to 999 or 999. Kasi dito, nakikita rin natin, kasi sa isang script, no, sa isang page ng script natin, makukuha siya ng oras at least 2 minutes ata. 2 to 3 minutes ang itatagal ng isang page na script. So dito kaya dapat ini-spell out natin din. We can also use abbreviations, acronyms sparingly and properly. Bakit? May ilan dito ay alam na nila. Hindi lahat kasi alam ang ibig sabihin. So it will be different. Kailangan natin i-spell out, for example, yung mga hindi nila alam, maaaring hindi alam. For example, the International Monetary Fund or IMF has approved. Kasi pag sinabi lang natin na IMF, maaaring hindi pa nila ito alam o kilala. Pero for example, the DepEd, malamang pwede na nila itong maintindihan kasi ito ay Department of Education. Or let's say, the DOH, no? The DOH budget was cut down to blah, 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 blah. So yan, so kaya okay dapat na ini-spell. Spell them out first, yung mga lesser known. Ito kasi like what I said, yung DepEd laging naririnig na natin. Yung mga popular, minsan hindi na natin sila ulit binibigyan inuulit yung the Department of Education or the DepEd. Okay? Ayan, so these are the guidelines. This is the sample SOA. Sample format siya for a 30-minute lesson. So baka ang ilan sa inyo ay magtanong, bakit 30 minutes? Good for 40 minutes yung lesson ko po, Teacher Jerry. So bukod sa ito, ang agreement, for example, between the radio station, kasi nagkakaroon tayo ng agreement na sa mga radio station na ito lang ang magiging running time o yung frequency ng airtime. And yung agreement ng radio station and the cooperating agency, wala ring makikinig sa atin kung sobra pa ng 30 minutes, 'di ba? Alam naman natin attention span ng bata. Kaya challenge ito sa atin kung ano yung isasalpak natin sa 30-minute lesson. What learning competencies should a student be equipped with? Wag lahat-lahat kasi masyadong information overload. So as teachers, we also have to be considerate to the status of the children. So meron tayong tinatawag na standard na intro. So dito makikita natin yung program, yung program opening, yung intro. So, for example, magandang araw mga bata. Ito ang inyong araling panghimpapawid. Masaya ako na makakasama ko kayo sa ating pag-aaral sa pamamagitan ng radyo. Ako ang inyong lingkod at kaibigang guro, si Teacher Jerry. Ikaw at ako, sabay tayong matuto. Kasama mo ba ang iyong gabay? Magandang araw rin po sa inyo. Ngayon naman, maaari nyo bang batiin ang isa't isa ng magandang araw? So ito yung mga pwede nating maging mga opening spiel. Minsan sinasabi din natin, kasi ako ay isang kindergarten teacher, no? Kailangan ko din na sabihin na mayroon dapat silang gabay. Kasama ba ang yung gabay? Yung halimbawa ito ay magulang nila, parents, no? Kapatid. So pwede tayong nagkakaroon tayo ng interaction. May interactive. Kasi nga sabi natin dapat interactive yung audio lesson natin, di ba? So pwede itong gamitin. Tapos yung you approach, ikaw ba ay handa na sa ating aralin ngayong araw? Ayan. Usually, ang best format for SOA ay pwedeng si teacher lang o kaya kung sagutan siya, no? Sagutan where the host talk to each other discussing the topic. So, meron siyang host tapos mayroong pang mismong teacher na magtuturo. It could also be dramatized. Mababanggit ito na, tawag nito? Tulad ng nabanggit ko kanina, pwedeng maglagay tayo ng mga storytelling, no? Mga stories para mas maging maganda yung ating flow ng lesson. Especially kung yung story na yon ay tutuhugin din naman yung lesson natin. So, ito may standard intro tayo and extra. Malalaman ng bata na simula na ng klase. Parang DepEd TV lang kapag tutugtog na yung UBB, yung opening billboard, napapatingin ka na sa TV kasi magsisimula na. So, ganun din sa radio. Meron silang unang maririnig para sa paghahanda nila sa pakikinig na ng radyo o kaya ng audio lesson mo. You may also employ yung signal signs para malaman na, for example, quiz time na, pwedeng sound effects or pamagat ng segment. So this is just a suggested format po. You can change it according to your lesson and grade level to be more appropriate, no? But take note that the lecture for the day is only for 10 minutes, no? Kaya dapat sobrang pag-isipan natin ito ng maayos, hindi yung lagay lang tayo ng lagay sa script natin. Mayroon din tinatawag dito na musical break pa. So ano ito, Teacher Jerry? Here you can invite your students to sing, di ba? Or probably recite a poem para may participation, and then they will look forward to the next lesson. See, siguro dito you could also be more creative, like the poem should be related to the topic para pang-priming setting na rin natin. Okay? Itong itong song na to nakuha ko to sa isang project, no, sa Siargao. Ipapakita ko sa inyo maya-maya lang. So, yung meron silang kanta doon sa paghahanda. Sabi, ito ay nasa tune ng Farmer in the Dell. Ako ay ready na, tayo'y mag-umpisa, makinig sa ating aralin, masaya ang magbasa. So, ito, inihahanda nito yung mga bata sa reading. So, meron silang mga audio lessons for reading. So, meron din dito tayong brief review of the day's lesson. May mga announcements, may reminders. Siguro, pwede din yung assignment, diba? Or topic next meeting para naman prepared na yung mga bata for the next session. So, medyo challenging itong gagawin natin, no, as a teacher. At kailangan we don't miss yung competency as prescribed. So, finally, the challenge is on conventional teachers like us to embrace yung itong ganitong mga gawain, no? So, but let us not become weary in doing good. For at the proper time, we will reap and harvest if we do not give up. So, ngayon nakikita natin yung DepEd TV, no, na may mga awards na nare-recognize na rin sila, both local and international. Ayan. So, tulad na nabanggit ko kanina, ito yung Project Alon. It is a community engagement project of the Numancia Elementary School 2019 Teacher Fellows, no? So, the project aims to capacitate teachers with skills to produce interactive audio instruction based on Marungko modules for reading continuity. Ang kinaibahan nito, gumagamit sila ng radyo, pero yung radyo kasi nito ay may USB port, no? Pwedeng saksakan siya ng USB, at yung USB na ito ng Project Alon, meron na tong mga audio lessons, no? Pre-recorded siya, no? So itong mga recorded audio lessons, ipe-play lang ng bata, tapos meron silang booklet na Marungko, no? Yung Marungko approach sa pagtuturo ng panimulang pagbasa. So ipe-play ng bata, gina-guide na siya, meron yung Marungko booklet at yung papakinggan nila ay pareho. So, papakinggan lang ng bata yun at susundan yung Marungko booklet. Ito pa ang isa, no, na ito yung tinatawag na audio-assisted reading approach, no? Ito ay reading intervention program na dinevelop ng mga teachers naman ng Victoria's Elementary School sa SDO Victoria City. Ang gamit naman nila dito ay digital audio recorder kung saan ipe-play na ng bata yung audio lesson, no? So, hindi pala siya necessary na radio, no? So, pwede tayong mga gumamit naman ng audio recorder, digital recorder na pwedeng i-play ng bata yung mga audio lesson. Dito naman sa audio recorder ng Victoria's Elementary School, pwede sila pong mag-record ng kanilang boses at ma-assess nila yung kanilang reading progress. Okay? Ayan. Diyan po tayo nagtatapos. Maraming salamat. Kung may mga questions kayo, pwede nyo ilagay sa ating comment section at babasahin natin. Ayan, medyo magpa-plug lang si Teacher Jerry. Si Teacher Jerry ay napapanood po sa DepEd TV tuwing alas 8 ng umaga. Ako po ay nagtuturo ng Grade 1 MTB MLE. Ito yung mga mother tongue-based multilingual education. Si Teacher Jerry din ay Alpabasa online host. So sa mga, baka may ilan sa inyong mga magulang dito na nanonood din, no, na gustong matuto ang anak ng pagbabasa. So pwede po kayong mag-subscribe sa ating Alpabasa website. At meron akong parenting tips, no? Ito ay collaboration with TikTok Philippines. So pwede kayong manood ng mga parenting tips ko sa TikTok, no? Na paano ba nagtuturo sa mga bata. Meron din ako diyan pagtuturo ng pagbabasa din. And lastly, itong aking YouTube channel, no, na Teacher Jerry. Na marami kayong makukuhang mga video lessons naman on teaching beginning reading, both Filipino and English. Ayan, maraming salamat. May questions ba?
So thank you, Teacher Jerry, for that very engaging and insightful session. So for sure, yung mga teachers na nakikinig, ang daming natutunan sa shinare niyo po in creating and developing audio lessons. So very exciting din po to apply yung mga learnings natin for today. So excited ako and looking forward dun sa mga gagawin ng mga teachers who are watching right now. So for those who are watching, I am opening the floor for some questions from our audience to ask to Sir Jerry. So we have some time for 2 to 3 questions. And if you have any questions, you could comment it down in the comment section below. So while waiting, sir, for the questions from our audience, I could start now with a question that I have while listening
Mhm.
to your session. So yung question ko po, sir, how are you able to incorporate the use of audio lessons in your teaching? As you said, you're teaching kindergarten. So how do you, or are you currently incorporating the use of audio lessons sa inyong pagtuturo po?
Ayan, in all honesty, hindi ko pa siya nagagawa since naka-detail ako ngayon sa central office bilang national teacher broadcaster kasi nagsushoot kami for DepEd TV episodes. Pero ngayon, we are also preparing for radio-based instruction. Ito na yung susunod namin naman na tatrabahuin. So ngayon, tinatapos na namin yung mga TV episodes. Ngayon naman, ang inahanda namin yung radio-based instruction. But for now, naghahanda kami ng mga scripts, pero wala pa talaga kami na nare-record. Okay? Pero iyon yung kaninang na i-present kong halimbawa ay yung sa Siargao. Nakakatuwa, isa ako sa nagbigay ng talk sa mga teachers para naman sa voice acting. So, meron sila ditong mga audio lessons na na-prepare based on the Marungko booklet. So, kung ano yung nasa booklet, yun din yung tinuturo nila sa audio lesson.
So,
Ayun.
thank you, sir, for answering that question. So, ayun. Very insightful nga and I am very familiar din po dun sa project in Siargao since colleagues ko din po sila. So, another
Okay.
question siguro po, how can audio lessons be used once we shift to the new normal or the limited face-to-face? Dahil ang dami na pong schools na nag-open for limited face-to-face. So,
Mm-mm.
kahit hindi na naging distance learning yung modality na ginagamit, sa tingin niyo po, paano po natin magagamit yung audio lessons or yung radio lessons in teaching?
Ayan, ang kagandahan nito na kahit na nagkakaroon na ng face-to-face classes, nag-o-open na yung mga schools ng face-to-face classes. Ang kagandahan nito ay yung mga bata, naiahanda pa rin natin sila. Kasi may mga schools pa rin talaga na limited lang yung face-to-face. Mayroong tinatawag kasi na hybrid classes, no? So yung hybrid classes, may mga batang nasa school, yung ilan naman na nasa bahay lang, nakakanood pa rin sila ng mga pagtuturo sa eskwelahan. So parang ito din sa mga audio lessons na kahit si teacher na kahit yung mga bata ay hindi makapasok for instance sa paaralan, may ipe-play sila na audio lesson pa rin sa bahay. Sa bahay nila. Tapos pwede din itong gamitin as an intervention program. Mga follow-up since parang marami pa rin talagang time para sa bahay para mag-aral.
Ayan. Thank you, sir, for that answer. No? So, kahit no mag-shift tayo back to face-to-face, we could always use these materials to supplement further dahil mas marami nga talagang time yung students sa bahay. Siguro, last question, sir, for this morning. Sa tingin niyo po, why is it important to create your own learning materials? Hindi lang siguro in audio lessons or radio lessons, pero materials in general. Why is it important na mag-contextualize and to create our own?
Ayan, siguro isa sa mga kailangan natin, ito naman ay alam ko yung mga teachers alam na yung principles na each child is unique, 'di ba? So iba-iba ang mga bata, iba ang mga bata sa NCR, iba-iba yung mga bata rin na outside NCR. Kaya talagang mahalaga yung contextualization and localization. And even naman na sa isang paaralan kami, iba rin ang bata ko at iba rin yung bata ng ibang klase. So ngayon, makikita natin sa pagbuo natin ng lesson, ano bang klase ng bata ang meron ako ngayon, no? At ito yung magiging ano natin, paraan para makapaghanda ng mga materials sa kanila. May mga batang mabilis na matututo sa paraan ng materials na gagamitin ko ngayon. Pero yung sumunod ng mga bata, kasi I have two sessions eh. For example, yung pre-pandemic, ang kindergarten ay meron akong hawak na two classes. Yung unang klase ko ang bibilis, pero pag ikalawa ko naman nababagalan ako sa pagtuturo kasi binabago ko ulit ng approach, ibang materials naman sa kanila. So parang dito din maganda na nakikita natin yung center natin lagi ay yung bata. Paano ba sila natututo? Ano ba yung mga interest ng bata ko ngayon? Yung current na mga bata. Kasi kahit na meron na tayong, ako kahit may mga naihanda na akong materials na gagamitin, na pwede kong gamitin for the next school year, na talagang namomodify pa siya, nababago pa siya ulit, base ulit sa mga panibagong bata na meron ako.
And thank you for answering the question, sir. So, very highlight siguro no nung sinabi mo na dapat naka-center dun sa ating mga learners, and even if we have prepared materials, we could always enhance and modify them depending on the learner's needs. So if there are no more questions, let us all give Sir Jerry another round of virtual applause. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your time and knowledge with us this morning. So let me now present the certificate of recognition. So this certificate is presented to Jerry L. Rivas for sharing his time and expertise as resource speaker on the topic using interactive audio instruction and teaching during the KaaGABAY learning series on materials development. Given this 8th day of April 2022 at Cagayan de Oro City Division, Cagayan de Oro City, Philippines. So signed by our school's division superintendent, Dr. Cherry May Limbaco Reyes. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you,
And
Teacher Isabel.
yes, thank you, sir. And I hope that you have a wonderful day ahead and keep safe always po.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so wow, sobrang dami nating natutunan sa session ni Teacher Jerry. So we learned about the functions of the radio, which is to entertain, to inform, and to educate. Pero as educators, the latter is what we should focus on, especially we are still in the pandemic. We have learned also about the different characteristics of SOA or School on the Air, and also similarly to creating video lessons, the different pre and post-broadcast activities. Natutunan din natin yung principles in writing for radio or yung 6 C's, which are clear, concise, conversational, complete, current, and correct, and how important it is to maximize our time since it is very limited in using audio or radio lessons. So to share lang then, previously I also had an opportunity to create audio lessons. And through this session of Sir Jerry, I was very inspired to revisit the materials I made to further improve and enhance them, applying the things I have learned from him a while ago. So sana kayo po, mga teachers, are inspired to do the same. If available ta and if time permits, sana matry din natin to put into action the things we've learned, not only for today, but in our previous sessions. And very interesting to explore more yung ating pag-voice acting sa paggawa ng audio lessons to be able to engage our learners more. So as we end this activity, please don't forget to answer the attendance/evaluation form through the link shown on the screen. And this link will also be on the comment section below. So sending it right now for you to answer. Ayan. So this now concludes our learning series as this is our last session. We hope that you have learned a lot through the different sessions we had. As mentioned in our first session, the term kaagabay is derived from the two words kaagapay and gabay. As kaagapay means to support and gabay means to guide, this learning series hopes to serve as a support sa ating mga gabay or to the guides of the learners, which are the teachers. So I hope in this past month, the sessions we had with our different speakers were able to guide and support you as you continue on your journey in materials development. So from contextualization and localization, from the utilization of tools in creating and designing them, the different ways and best practices in creating and enhancing materials, the processes and strategies and tools in creating video lessons, and our most recent session on how to incorporate interactive audio instruction. So, taking this opportunity again to thank our amazing speakers for sharing their knowledge and time with us here in this learning series. And thank you so much for watching the Kaagabay learning series and for learning together with us. Pero hindi pa dito nagtatapos ang ating journey in creating learning resources. So let us anticipate the exhibit of iDesign and create learning resources in the upcoming months where you can showcase your own learning materials. I am looking forward to see the different innovations that you will be making, and I hope that the sessions we had here in Kaagabay will be helpful to you as you create your own contextualized materials. So padayon sa ating mga teachers, and we will keep you posted for more details regarding this activity. So abangan po sana natin ito. So in behalf of our LR manager, Dr. Joel Putana, and the LR team with Ma'am Gemma Pahayon and Ma'am Lani Signo, we would like to thank all those who made this activity possible. Again, daghang salamat sa tanan for watching and joining us this past month. If you want to look back to our different sessions, you can always check it out in this Facebook page or in our LR portal. Wishing everyone a wonderful day ahead. Keep safe po and happy Friday to all.